What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Well, it's all right. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right. If you live the life you please. Well, it's all right.
Little Traveling Wilburys, End of the Line. That's a significant song for my next guest. So full disclosure, my next guest and I have known each other for more than 25 years, and amazingly, he still looks 25 years old. Jeff, I don't know what you're doing or what you're eating, but it's pretty amazing. He has gone on to make his parents proud, ladies and gentlemen. He started a variety of businesses. He's involved himself in a whole lot of philanthropic endeavors, and I went into radio. So, Jeff Baikowitz, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Aaron.
Great to see you. In fact, I haven't seen you in a long, long time, and suddenly you're involved because you're sort of the main driving force in this restoration of the 9th floor restaurant in the Eaton Centre, that magnificent Art Deco space that has been sitting dormant for 25 years. So first question, what made you, 25 years is a long time to sit without anyone deciding they wanted to do anything. So what made you want to do this?
So the architect has actually been involved in that project for 22 years. He started working on the restoration in 2001. And Ivanhoe contacted me in, I think it was 2016, might have been 2015, and told me about this space, which I knew of course.
Right.
Everybody who's over a certain age has a memory of going there with their mother or their grandmother or after shopping at Eaton's. And my first reaction, quite frankly, was it's too big, it's too complicated, it's too expensive. A big space like that, people want to eat in smaller restaurants like the other restaurants that I'm involved in. But I went back to see it, and it's just, it's breathtaking. And so, I guess I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic, and we started looking for ways, myself and Ivanhoe, and the architect and the Minister of Culture and so on, of how to make it work. And it's been a long journey, but the end result, I think, is quite extraordinary.
So the government's involved here as well? This is grant money partly?
There's no grant money.
Nothing?
But because it's a national monument, the day it closed, the government moved in and established it as a heritage site,
Okay.
an interior heritage site, which is quite rare because buildings and sculptures are typically designated that. But because of it being one of the last Art Deco style untouched restaurants, they designated it. Everything in there, the furniture, the floors, the walls, everything was designated heritage. The way it had to be restored and the uses for it were very restricted. And that's why Ivanhoe approached me.
So beyond it now becoming a restaurant again, and we're just chatting off mic, you can actually go online today and book a reservation at this space, as the restaurant space.
At the restaurant.
Starting May 17th. That's when your first official day of opening is?
Correct.
Can anyone, how is it going to work? This is a giant room.
Right.
So you could accommodate how many people in there at one time?
Well, so there's a salon, which is the smaller room outside of the big room, which is where we're going to have the restaurant.
Okay.
5 to 7 days a week. And that is a restaurant of about 100 people. The big room can hold up to 600 people. And that's going to be for special occasions where the restaurant will activate that space for Christmas and other important holidays and special events. And then there's private events there, and then there's public events there. So, for example, the McCord Museum is hosting their gala fundraiser there, and then they're going to have the Sugar Ball. Candlelight Concert has already booked, I think, 24 concerts there to do shows there.
That's great.
Andy's going to be bringing in some comedy. We have a lot of musicians looking at doing interesting stuff. So
you say Andy Nolman is involved as far as the event space is concerned for booking?
Correct.
So this is really going to become, beyond the restaurant, which would be nice enough to be able to go back to if you remember it, which is interesting to me because you were like 6 years old when it closed or something, yet here you are now taking this magnificent now heritage site, if you will, and restoring it. How important was it, by the way, to get it back to exactly the way it was before you said, okay, we're ready?
So it was important to me, very important, but it was also mandatory according to the Minister of Culture. So we had to go back to old black and white photos, the notes of the original architect from the 1920s, read his writings on the subject. There's an article in the Royal Canadian Journal of Architecture that describes the room, and so those all informed the architects and us about how things had to look.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long from the time you started until we're open, how long did it take to get this done?
For me, it's been about 8 years now.
Wow.
And we're excited not only for the restaurant and gastronomy, but all the other cultural things that are now being attracted to the room, and really to make it a center for Montrealers to enjoy, just like they did. Everybody who hears about it tells me a memory they have of with their mother, their grandmother, a milestone birthday that they went there. My partner, Fred Morin from Joe Beef, told me he remembers when he graduated high school, his mother said, as a special treat, she would take him to the 9e for an omelette. And that was considered to be...
And with respect to, who's you're involved in restaurants across the city as well, a variety of them, but who's running the kitchen in this one?
So the executive chef there is someone by the name of Liam Hopkins, who previously worked at McKiernan, which is part of the Joe Beef Group. And before that, he was at Franquette and Park as well, which is also some restaurants that we're invested in. And the culinary director there is someone named Derek DeMann, who used to own a restaurant called Maison Publique. And he was also our partner at McKiernan.
Okay, so you have that end of it covered.
We have a great team in the kitchen. And they've brought on some other people now that are quite impressive as well. So we're very excited. It's
a wonderful project. I saw some of the pictures. I mean, I can't remember. It's a long time ago, obviously, being up in that space. But I think it's wonderful that someone is actually taking the time and trouble and, put their money behind where their mouth is in this case to develop that space. It's absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to go back. And you said that you could actually, if you wanted to, you could book a party in there at some point down the road?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to doing that too. I want to ask you something else. We started the show today. So you've invested in a variety of businesses around the province. You're a local guy. You're from here. I know that over the years we've talked about a lot of different stuff. We were just talking about the Olympic Stadium. So I don't know if you heard the story this morning. We're already committed for 800.
I'm not taking on that project.
No, wait a second. I want to know. I think you could. Someone asked, first of all, I don't know if maybe it's unfair to ask. We found out that after a fire there about a month or so ago, there's now a $40 million repair bill based on that fire. We found out that the building is not insured. Is that unusual that something like the Olympic Stadium wouldn't be insured? Do you know?
I'm shocked and not surprised at the same time. So this is more from my real estate background. Everything that's you're going to insure has to go through the actuaries, and they have to do a risk calculation. And I think that is probably one that's very difficult for people to get their heads around. But secondarily, there are some people who have portfolios that are big enough that they, what you call self-insure. And they decide that not carrying insurance tends to be more, has a better return on investment for them. So
because it would have cost millions, obviously, to insure this facility.
Somebody did the math somewhere.
Okay. So we shouldn't be surprised at that. Number two, there have been a variety of suggestions made as to what should happen next with the Big O, because we know now that $870 million will now exceed at least $1 billion. And we know living in Quebec, it'll probably be double that by the time it's done. Someone brought up the idea, why doesn't the province or the city or collectively find someone privately, say, you take the building for $1, whatever, and go ahead and turn it into, it's a landmark institution. It's compared, I said David Hertel when he was with the OIB compared it to the Eiffel Tower. That's our landmark. Now you can agree or not agree, but if you could leave it there, charge people to see it just like they would to go to the Eiffel Tower, is that something you could imagine that someone privately, he said looking at you, might be interested in doing? Is it viable, do you think?
So I couldn't comment about its viability because I just don't know the costs involved and what the use would be.
I'm going to give it to you for $1.
So, but, obviously I'm a hopeless romantic. So those types of projects I think are hugely important for entrepreneurs to take on. You know that I've been involved in malnutrition. My partner's involved in climate solution. My other partner's involved with the hospitals here. But I think, and those are extremely important causes and close to our heart. But I think landmarks in this city that we love so much, say what you will about the challenges of the city. I think we live in the best city in the world. And there's so many amazing things here, especially culturally. And architecture and gastronomy are part of that I absolutely think that private groups should be put together to try and find solutions for those types of problems.
And when will that happen?
You're going to have to speak to...
All right, fine. It's nice to know at least that there's some hope, because a lot of people are at the stage now where they say just blow it up, knock the thing down. I might have thought like that. That might have been my knee-jerk reaction at the beginning when I found out how much money this was going to cost. But then, you know what? As I said, you look at this, you're talking about a cultural landmark in a city. It is. It's a terrible stadium, but it's a cultural landmark. So can we not do something to keep it there?
I would hope so. And I think the knee-jerk reaction is also to look at the various levels of government and demand that they do something. But I think those of us that have been successful in Montreal also have a responsibility towards landmarks. And I think the private investors should be brought together to at least have those conversations. Yeah. Maybe it's not viable, but they should be involved in the discussions.
All right. Sure. So when that happens, please tell me how it went. so I can pass it on and let people know that there is some discussion at least going on as to its future.
You'll be invited to the meeting.
Thank you so much. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for coming in. It's great to see you after so many years.
Thank you for helping us.
And good luck at this magnificent Eaton on the 9th floor. What are we calling this exactly?
So the space is the 9th floor,
Just
and
the
it was
9th
always
floor.
known as the 9th. The restaurant was known as the Ile-de-France because it was designed after the first-class dining cabin of the Ile-de-France cruise ship.
Right.
At the request of Lady Flora Eaton, and those are kind of the two different.
So
names.
it'll stay Ile-de-France.
Ile-de-France.
Ile-de-France, sorry.
Yeah. Ile-de-France and 9th or Le 9e
Okay.
are the names that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Amazing job.